can't tell you how much it pleases me to have such cruelty in the judiciary. As we say, I'm in charge now. Okay. So you've had your fun, right? And maybe somebody else will do something fun as well. I'm actually going to be straightforward and serious at the beginning of what ought to be a fun evening. Truth to tell, I've only done one roast in my life, and I came away from it vowing not to do another. And the reason, to be truthful, is simple and serious. The very core of my being is the strongest belief that you and I need to honor people, indeed celebrate them, where they can hear it. And so I begin this evening with a headline. I admire and love and respect my beloved sister Mary. I've known her longer than anyone here or anywhere, indeed for 7 decades. She was and still is the big sister in our family of 9 children. And if you have that sort of designation, it carries with it a great responsibility. The responsibility to be mentor, friend, confidant, the very font of wisdom and love. Mary Louise Lawrence Pankowski is all of these. She's also deeply blessed. If you know Mary, and you really know Mary, I'm not revealing anything whatsoever to you if I tell you that she is driven, larger than life, exuberantly optimistic. And that makes her especially blessed to have her husband Joe. In our family, he's known as Saint Joseph. He is simply about the best partner anyone could have. They're both deeply blessed, and so are their 3 splendid children, one of whom you will hear from this evening. Each of these children with enormous values because they grew up in a Pankowski home of the very greatest human values, and because Mary grew up in a Lawrence home of the greatest human values. We, the 9 of us, grew up in a family where we were expected to do good and expected to do well. Expected to work hard, expected to learn, and expected to give. And in every one of these, Mary learned well, and so did we all. Born in the city, New York City, we grew up on a farm on the heel of Lake Ontario, a place of brutal winters accompanied by snowdrifts that would come up to the roof and beyond. It was, moreover, a chicken farm, which I promise you is the least glamorous form of agriculture in America. We learned a lot about hard work and what had to be done before school, including milking cows, and what had to be done after school, which included, quite truly, pitchforking the manure. We older children were deeply involved in the before-school endeavor, euphemistically known as dressing chickens, but was in fact really a before-school family assembly line of chickens killed and made ready to sell to small grocery stores. If you wonder how small and how rural we were, we went to school at Sandy Creek Central School, but we lived in a place called Sandy Pond. We lived on a farm that never did as well as our parents hoped, and ultimately, when Mary and I were both teenagers, our mother and father, loaded up everyone in a station wagon way before seatbelts were the law of the day. And we moved to the sunshine of Florida and a new start and a new adventure. Older sister Mary was the leader of us all, despite my periodic, though mostly futile, forays for primacy. If she was for the Yankees and had a calf named Mickey Mantle, and she did, I was for the Dodgers and my calf was named Duke. If she loved Roy Rogers, it will be perfectly obvious to you that I love Gene Autry. and that, I promise you, was the very least of it. We would tangle greatly with one another, all of us Lawrence children frequently did, but woe unto anyone whatsoever outside the family who lit into any one of us, because we Lawrences stood together. We were a family who built snow forts and sold vegetables to neighbors and had enough members of the family to play softball. If you remember your TV from the 70s, when we were all grown up, we were in fact the Waltons of a couple of decades early. Mary was the animal person with abundant affection, not only for our beautiful Irish setter Sherry, but also parakeets and the most stunning array of goats. You need to remember the times of a half-century ago, and our father's pride in supporting and leading the family, though truth to tell, he and our mother deeply loved and respected one another, and she did her share of leading as well. Our father was an Irish Roman Catholic traditionalist. That meant he assumed the 3 boys would go to college and the 6 girls, I'm kidding you not, would get married, and hence everyone, all 9, would be provided for. He didn't count on Mary, who insisted that she could get good enough grades and enough scholarships, and besides was willing to work all the way through to get through college. And she, and indeed all 9 of us, were graduated from either Florida or Florida State, and in Mary's case, both of them. I could tell you about her earned doctorate, her law degree, which she always wanted and made happen not that many years ago. The buildings she helped make happen at FSU and FIU, the young people in her life, children and grandchildren, and her work with the state attorney, all of whose lives, I would say, are better because of her and Joe. But I leave that to others. Simply want you to know that Mary Louise Lawrence Pankowski is the best big sister I could possibly imagine. And I love Mary, and so do we all. Thank you.